Welcome all to the Tortillas and Takes podcast. You are on once again with your boy, Albie Shore, and we are back. We're back. Took a nice little vacay. One of us took a real vacay, going to the depths of the earth and hiking and doing things that a lot of Caucasians like to do. The other one of us was ripping the little hair he has out because his children are not back in school yet, and they need to be, right? So of course I'm talking about myself, Albie, but also talking about the man that hikes goes down in the dunes and hikes the mountains, and that is the people's champ himself, Jeremy Gillen. What's up, Jeremy?
That is right, Albert. I do go outside occasionally, and I do like to walk, so that does separate us. But glad to be back podcasting. And you know what? It's kind of good we waited. A bunch of stuff going on. It's August, so football this month. That's exciting. All of our late spring, early summer excitements about this team is worth so much money now. Like everybody's talking about Texas Tech. Can't wait to see what happens. Well, we're here. We're pretty much here. Well, I mean, honestly, probably have 3 more episodes until football season, which is insane to think about.
Until everybody hears our predictions. And then they can come back to those episodes and be like, you idiots or you geniuses, And so as we're getting ready for pod here, a couple of crazy things happening in Red Raider land. And it's interesting that this all happens the day we plan to pod. So Texas Tech has a top 2 transfer portal class, right? Either number 1 or number 2, depending on what service you subscribe to. If you subscribe to the service that has number 2, you're wrong. So we have the best transfer portal class in the offseason. And a lot of people are like, man, they're just, money whipping, using all this money, but they're spending it all on transfers. They're still going to have this trash high school class, right? Wrong, right? As we're recording, expert prediction on On3 website. Now, On3 is deciding they want to be the top dog when it comes to this recruiting service land. But on the On3 website, and is that Guyton, right? That's right. We got the number 1 player in the class of 2027 potentially coming to Texas Tech University. He's announcing it on Thursday, right? This will come out on Wednesday. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Come out on Wednesday, but he is announcing it on Thursday. The number 1 player is that's just, mind you, 2 years ago we were excited about Micah Hudson, having a 5-star, Right now, LaDamian Guyton, the number 1 player in 2027, is saying, I don't want to. Georgia, who are they?
Savannah. Texas Who wants to be in Savannah? Yep.
Athens, but it's okay.
He's from Savannah. You know what I'm saying?
Jeremy, what do you think about LaDamian Guyton, potentially the number 1 edge in the class, potentially number 1 player in 2027, might even reclassify to 2026, where he still will be a top tier edge, a 5-star plus player coming to Texas Tech?
Just changes everything. I mean, we talked about transfer portal and getting a bunch of big guys in transfer portal, having the best transfer portal class. A lot of obvious critiques about, are they going to be able to transfer that kind of success to high school? But this silences all of that. And I think the beautiful thing about high school recruits, and also the biggest downfall, if you're not a part of if you're not a part of the elite club that we're a part of now, when one high caliber dude commits, it usually causes other guys to go, you know what? I want to play with a guy like that. Oftentimes, that's quarterbacks really drawing the offensive tackles, but defensive guys like to play with defensive guys, right? So it's this changes everything. This changes the narrative around Texas Tech as a destination. Of course, everybody from the SEC is going to be using one of these standard responses of he wasn't that good, or he's just in it for the money, or, one of those. And, whether it really doesn't matter if any of those are true or none of them are true, because the reality is that he would be at Texas Tech wearing the double T with the offers that he had. It's just, this has never happened before to this scale. So it's just really cool to see, man.
Yeah, it's always funny to hear like, oh man, they're just in it for the money. I can't believe he wouldn't want to come to Athens, Georgia. I can't believe he wouldn't want to come to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, just in it for the money. Can you believe it? We would never do something like that down in Knoxville, Tennessee. Never. He's just in it for the money. Like, yeah. It's actually, I was watching the Pony Express yesterday in my hotel room, and about SMU, and they were talking about how obviously SMU, paid for Eric Dickerson to come there, but he talked about how that Trans Am, that very popular Trans Am that everyone assumed that SMU bought for him, was bought by A&M. That A&M was the one spending all this money for Eric Dickerson to go to A&M, and that he chose SMU, and obviously SMU was also paying, but they didn't pay anything. A&M was the one that was giving all these funds to Dickerson, and Dickerson just went to the school that also was paying some funds, but he actually wanted to go to. And that's what reminds me of like guys like Guyton, like all these guys in transfer portal. Sure, we're money whipping, no question about it. I'm not going to sit here and act like we're not. I mean, I think Tech fans, surprisingly, I would say, have been very honest about the fact that we all know we're money whipping, but these guys still have to choose to go here, right? Like, these guys still have to choose and say, hey, I would rather go to Texas Tech for, even if it's choosing between Texas Tech at $400,000 and Georgia at $300 or Georgia at $350. They still have to make that choice, right? They still have to say that. A lot of players would do the other way. One of the guys we got in the transfer portal, I want to say it was Gil Howard, actually stated that he could have got more money elsewhere. He comes to Texas Tech and saw the facilities and saw everything else and was like, no, this is where I need to be. Right, like, so it's not just like, they're just going for the money. Let me tell you something. It's there's more to it than that. I think they feel like something's really being built, and there's a lot of money here. There's that too.
They can always say no, and you're so right.
No.
Like, really, this broadcasting of like, man, Texas Tech is spending all this money in the grander scheme of things. We're kind of just starting to pay out the same way your classic blue bloods have been paying out for decades, right? Inflation wise. And it's like, you look at the scale, and really Texas Tech is not blowing schools out of the water with how much we're spending on a roster. It's that, okay, now we're kind of disrupting the narrative of good players go to good schools because they're good schools. Well, how do they become good schools? That's the question, right?
So apparently Texas Tech is spending $25 million on this roster. Ohio State's championship roster last year was $24 million. So that kind of tells you that we're just spending like the big dogs are spending, right? Yeah. Mind you, and a lot of people are going to, make a notion of, Texas Tech spending all this money to be underwhelming. In hindsight, yeah, Ohio State won a national championship. It's pretty incredible, right? We forget they were, an 8 seed? Right? In any other iteration of the college football playoffs or college football anything, they wouldn't have made it to the championship game. And in that scenario, right, they would have been maybe a BCS bowl instead, or a New York Six bowl, or what have you. And so would you have viewed Ohio State as a disappointment that you spent $24 million on a 10-win team? No, you would have been like, oh, well, that it is what it is, still a really good season, good for them. So if Texas Tech does the same thing, boom, thank you. I guess that's fantastic. So we're just, to your point, we're not overspending. We're spending. We're now, it's just the name Texas Tech is not supposed to be spending like Ohio State, like Georgia, like Alabama, like Florida. We just are. So now, Georgia, to get LaDainian Guyton, you listen, we might want money whip you. You didn't think it'd come from us, but it might come from us. Right? So put up the money. I
think another big thing to all this is it shows me, you talk, the Ohio State reference is a really good one, because it shows me that the people who are making this happen believe that that is the financial manifestation that, like, I believe that Texas Tech is a national championship team. Like, I believe that this team can go all the way, and you've built up the financial component that backs it up. Now, there's 1,001 other things that have to go right for that to happen. And I'm not saying we're going to get sniffed at this year, but to me, it shows like, hey, we truly believe it's not, we're talking big and, nothing's happening. It all had no cattle, right? We're like, no, we've got the farm, and we sold the farm, and we would like this team to do well. please now do well. Right. And so very much I do appreciate, like, I can see the narrative of like, oh, spending all this money to do nothing. It's like, well, first of all, we haven't played a single game yet. Nobody knows what this team is capable of. Right now, to me, it just shows that the people around this program believe that this program is worthy and worth a championship. And if the ticket price for that is $24-25 million, they're making that happen. And so it's like, okay, well, great. Next step. What's next, right?
And I had to break it to you guys. It ain't just Cody Campbell. It ain't just it ain't just all our other billionaires. First of all, we got a lot of billionaires for one. A lot of billionaires. We got a lot of millionaires. And we have a top 15 collective. People sleeping on Matador Club. We have a top 15 collective. We have the number 1 or 2 collective in the Big 12, right? We have a collective that's higher than a lot of SEC and Big 10 teams. So, hey, we got I've been telling people for a long time, we have the funds. We've had the funds, and now we're just showing it. So LaDainian Guyton definitely stole a lot of headlines if you've been paying attention today. But another guy kind of came out recently, and I just saw a pre-pod. 5-star offensive tackle. I think you were saying he's the number 1 tackle in the country. Cooper Hackett. Also, expert opinion on Rivals /On3 to go to Texas Tech. Leveling up. And now you get 2 5-stars. Then you start saying, oh, well, 2 5-stars. Time to, or is this a top 10, top 5 recruiting class in the country? People are saying. And so he's coming a little closer, not from Georgia, but this guy is coming from Fort Gibson, Oklahoma. So it is close, right? So it is something that's a little bit more local, right? I'm sure the OU Sooners would like to have kept him in-house, but, sucks to suck for them.
Yeah, it should have been better last year. Number 3 overall, the number 1 in Oklahoma, but number 10 player in the nation. So an excellent player and another SEC pipeline school. Now we have to consider that Oklahoma is a SEC pipeline state. Incredible. I just think that this is incredible work. I've read a little bit about Hackett, and a lot of the hype around Hackett right now is that for the sheer size that he's at, which is 6'7", 250, moves incredibly quick, and they all account that to like, this guy's actually a good hooper, like loves to play basketball, has a lot of basketball IQ, a lot of lateral movement, right? So explosive movement patterns, body control. They see him as a really dynamic offensive tackle. And I've never, I cannot remember the day that we had an offensive tackle described as that. So would be a huge pickup, again, going very long way for a unit on our team that is desperately in need of youth and skill, for sure.
Yeah, but one thing I really love about these two being our first 2 potential big boy signings for the 2027 class, and maybe 26, thoughts of reclassifying, is that the trenches. For so long as I've been a Tech fan, as long as I've seen Texas Tech, we have focused so much on the skill positions, right? Even, and linebackers aren't necessarily skill positions, but defensively, linebackers have always been our strength. Offensively, obviously, quarterback and receivers have been our strength. Even running backs have been our strength. O-line, with the exception of Brandon Carter in the late 2000s, and that line, we really just haven't been a great O-line team. And Cody Campbell, the former O-lineman, recognizes, and I think a lot of these guys recognize, the trenches is where it's at. And I know there's a lot of Cowboy fans on here. I listen to this pod. The best season the Cowboys have had in the last 25 plus years. First of all, guys, it's okay to leave your team. That's kind of ridiculous. But anyways, the best season that the Cowboys have had in the last 25 plus years is the year. It was Dak and it was Dak's rookie year, him and Elliott's rookie year, and as rookies they were able to lead the NFL at one point. Go to the second round in the playoffs, and it was all not because Dak was the greatest rookie quarterback of all time. By every metric, he wasn't. He's still a good rookie quarterback, but not the best. But it was because they had the best O-line in football, and they had one of the best D-lines in football. Mm-hmm. And if you build from the trenches, it's been in every level of football: high school, college, middle school, Pee-wee, NFL, UFL, NFL Europe. Doesn't matter. Every aspect of football, if you build the trenches, if your guys are bigger, stronger than their guys, you will likely win, right? There were so many times back in the day where we would see Tech play Oklahoma and Texas, and they just look bigger than us, like off the bus. And you'd be like, well, that was fun while it lasted. You know? And so we're building the trenches. Guys like Damian Guyton, you guys like Hampton, like he comes off the bus. That's a big boy. That is a big boy, right? As he's coming through. Gil Howard, that is a big boy. Romello Height, that is a big boy. So building the trenches there, I love to see it.
Yeah, it's the one thing that you got to have a good. And I saw you're going with it, going at Scott with it for a little bit about, he joked about paying $50 million for your offense to be led by Baron Morton. Is just kind of embarrassing. And I have had this conversation with many of people at this point this summer, because I heard that same kind of argument of like, hey, do you think you guys should have gone out and got a little bit of better quarterback? Like your quarterback's been kind of flimsy, like hasn't really produced for you, blah, blah, blah. And my response has been the same from the beginning that, I'm reminded of the SEC. And I had a really good example today of like the rankings of the Big 12 quarterbacks and the rankings of the SEC quarterbacks. And I was just looking at it, I was like, when you think of memorable names, and of course we're Big 12 homers, we're looking at the Big 12 and we recognize all the names for sure. But like if you give it to an independent person, you're like, hey, do you recognize any of these? Big 12 guys are more recognizable quarterback-wise because those guys are making much more dynamic plays, oftentimes because the offense is just built differently, right? But I think another thing we miss is that SEC has benefited from hog daddies on the line for a very long time. And hog daddy, like a good offensive line, like you're saying, will make even a mediocre quarterback look good. I try to think about all the SEC quarterbacks who are still in the NFL, and I'm like, many of them got in there, spent a couple years, and kind of flamed out. And the reality was, it's just like, well, they were so good because they had 15 seconds to sit back there and throw the ball to really good skill players. It makes anybody look good. So if you have a dramatically better offensive line for Texas Tech, Baron Morton doesn't have to run around for his life the whole time. He gets to do what he's good at and play quarterback. And so at that level, I love that Baron's back there. Like, I think Baron's a really good quarterback. We just really haven't had a chance to see it because he's usually running for his life. So the narrative just changes. Like, how does Texas Tech look now? How good is Baron Morton when he's got time to do what he's supposed to do? That's the question.
Yeah, Alabama is known as the best football program in the country. And how many national championships did they win year in and year out because of how great they were? But they didn't really have a good quarterback till Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, and Bryce Young. That's how recently. Like the quarterbacks they had that were winning all the national championships was Greg McElroy and A.J. McCarron.
Right.
Like at one point, people said A.J. McCarron was the greatest Alabama quarterback of all time. Like at one point, people were looking at that. Right?
Yeah.
And before you people that are like, well, back I know Ken Stabler and Joe Namath played for Bama. Look, they weren't. Ken Stabler actually was. He's for Bama. Joe Namath was not. It's okay. Okay. But that's the point. Like you can sit back there, you can kind of chill, right, a little bit and take your time. Miami quarterbacks very similar when they were winning national championships. Outside of Vinny Testaverde, Jeremy, can you name me a Miami quarterback from back in the day?
Nope.
Okay. See, that's the point. So, like, and I don't want to divert. I did kind of want to talk about this a little bit because Scott did remind me of that one. Like, I look at Baron Morton, and I'm kind of like, no, actually, he's perfect for an expensive team. Like, because I would say this about Baron Morton, and I had arguments about this last year quite a bit. I cannot remember a time that Baron Morton won us a game. I cannot remember a time. I can also not remember a time Baron Morton lost us a game. Baron Morton is tied. Well, last year was tied for 12th in the conference in interceptions. The people he was tied with was your boy Donovan Smith, who Baron Morton threw 363 more passes than. Also, he was tied for interceptions with your boy's backup Zion Chris, who Baron Morton threw 360 more passes than. And then I think he was tied also with Sawyer Robertson, who he threw 100 more passes than, right? He led the conference in interception to completion ratio, right? He just threw so many more passes, but he takes care of the ball. He did not make mistakes. And so that's the type of player you want for this line. Now, I can make the excuse. Now, a lot of people are making the excuse of he's finally healthy. And so there's that. I mean, we saw him and saw how great he was when he first stepped on the scene, and we thought he was, maybe this is the new, star. And he's really been hurt since then. So, maybe there's that chance. But I'm not even subscribing to that notion, right? Even if he is just as good as he was last year. That guy last year, I can tell you right now, I was thinking about that. Thought about this for a little bit. If we would have since Pat Mahomes, we've lived through the Nick Shimoneks, who I do like. We lived through the Tyler Shucks, who I do like. We lived through the Alan Bowmans, who I do not like. We lived through the some of the other trash quarterbacks. I truly believe all the other quarterbacks I named probably go 7-6 last year, 7-5 last year, 6-6. Baron Morton not making mistakes allowed us to go 8 wins in the past few years. He allowed us to kind of take that next level because he just doesn't make mistakes. And so now that the talent level of the team has risen that much more, even if Baron Morton gets no better, that is the benefit of having a guy that just doesn't make any mistakes. He's not going to lose you the game. He's going to say, hey, Reggie Virgil, go win us the game. Hey, Michael Hudson, go win us the game. Hey, Quentin Joyner, go win us the game. Hey, Coleman, go win us the game. Hey, O-line, block for them. Hey, defense, go win us the game. I'm not going to lose it for us.
And that's honestly the best version of a quarterback.
It's the best version. Yeah. This is we don't listen. I know there's a whole thing about game manager and game changer. Say that for the NFL. In college, when your roster is good, I don't need you to change the game.
That's
manage
right.
That sucker.
Use the roster, buddy. That's so right.
Last comment in regards to the recruiting in Texas Tech here. Our boy James Blanchard, he has some things to say. Right? So they asked him now that potential for, and he's going to be known a little bit. His name he was already in the running for the Notre Dame job, and I think if Guyton Hackett commit and sign, I think his name's going to pop up even more. But they asked him what the goal is at Texas Tech. James Blanchard said it's to be a perennial top 10 team in the country, be a playoff contender every year, and dominate the Big 12 every GDU. He didn't say GD, but I'm going to fill in the blank.
Might as well.
He might as well have said every GD year. Blanchard talking that talk. And not only did he say that, all right, but he also said if somebody's underpaying an elite guy, only paying him $100,000 or $200,000, listen, I'm going to give him $300,000 to $400,000 and go steal somebody. All right. And here's the whole point of this is that y'all are underpaying market value for these top guys. I'm not overpaying. I'm paying them market value. These are elite recruits. They deserve $300,000 to $400,000. And if you're not willing to pay him, I'm gonna be that somebody that will. What are your thoughts, James Blanchard talking that cash?
James Blanchard, after he came back from that Notre Dame offer, it's been a different beast. Get a little money behind you, and now he's like, I'm going to strut pretty much. There's an aura, as the kids say, to Blanchard. But, what's really funny about all that is that he talks about the market price. He's setting the market price. We are setting the market price. It's basically like we're kind of like manipulating the stocks. It's hey, man, this is worth a lot more than you think it's worth. Everybody else may say you're worth $100,000. Guess what, buddy? You're worth $300,000, no less. How about that? And how do you take that as a kid? Because first of all, you're hearing like in this new world of NIL, sure, you got all these big programs and they're like, yeah, we'll get you. You'll be a part of a really good team, blah, blah, blah. We got history, blah, blah, blah. We'll give you $100,000. And you got Texas Tech coming out of the woodworks going, actually, they're lowballing you, buddy. They're lowballing you. It's this much, and I give it to you cash today. And it's just like, how do you compete with that? Because now the student athlete's going,
well,
I am worth that much.
You know how you compete with that? By paying it. That's the value. Yeah, no, I mean, if you're Guyton, let's use Guyton as an example, and Georgia comes to him and says, hey, buddy, we think you're a stud. We're going to pay you $200,000. And Texas Tech comes in and says, hey, you're actually worth $300,000, and that's what we're willing to pay you. That's his value. That's his set market.
Yep.
Right? And so if they're willing to pay it, your choice is Georgia. Your choice then is to either pay it or shut up.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to pay it, then you're not. Then you're not willing to pay it. You shut up. That's what you don't think he's valuable enough. But flip side of that, right? That's what you say. You think that we don't think he's worth it. It's not like Georgia can't pay it. right? It's not like Georgia. It's not like Alabama. Like there's some broke boys. Shout out Baylor and Oklahoma State. There are some broke boys, but it's not like Alabama and Georgia and Florida and LSU and BYU. It's not like they can't find the money. They can pay it. They have made the decision that guy's not worth it. And if that's the case, then stand on that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stand on that.
Stand on it.
Shut up.
Stop complaining about losing. It's your fault, actually. Yeah, no, this is a Wild West, man. And I appreciate the swagger that our people are bringing into it.
I will say.
You got money. Yeah.
I will say. People are plotting on our downfall, buddy. A lot of people want us to fail. This will be the season of Texas Tech haters. They will all unite.
Everyone's going to hate Texas Tech.
Yeah, and I'm not even saying, listen, y'all know me. I try to be a fairly practical person. I don't necessarily think Texas Tech just had a myriad of haters, except for people that just hate our fans and Gary Patterson. But people are going to hate us this year. They are going to hate us. They want us to fail. They want us to do because they want to be validated. Because let's be real. I think most college football fans are kind of nostalgic about the way things used to be. Right, with the whole transfer portal, the NIL, and things like that. So, and Texas Tech has now become the poster child, the symbol of all that's wrong with college athletics. We've kind of in one offseason, maybe two off seasons, we've kind of done that, right? With all the transfers coming from softball, the fact that we're puffing our chest out and paying $25 million in football and not being shy about it, right? We are becoming the symbol of anyone who hates NIL and transfer portal and what the college football has become. Texas Tech is becoming the symbol of that, right? Similar, Jeremy, you and I are both Astros fans, right? In 2017, everybody was cheating, but Astros cheated more. We won the championship. We became the symbol of cheating. So it doesn't matter the fact that the Red Sox were also caught cheating with the same manager the year later. Everyone's forgotten it. Doesn't matter that the Yankees were caught cheating in the same season as 2017. Yankees fans are like, we don't care. Doesn't matter that the Rangers have been figured out for cheating before. And doesn't matter that the Dodgers also caught cheating. None of that matters because the poster child for cheating is the Astros. And Texas Tech and what happens is everybody wants the Astros to lose, right? And I think that's calmed down as much now. But for the most part, everybody wanted the Astros to lose. Now that Texas Tech is becoming the symbol for this, people want this not to work. Mm-hmm. They want us to fail. They want us to flop. They want it not to work. And I just pray it does.
Yes. Otherwise, it's going to be a tough offseason. And this reminded me, and I was talking about this earlier on Twitter, X, whatever. There's no bad press for Texas Tech. No press is bad press when it comes to this. And I think of very much in the Nigeria Canada situation where the entire World Series, if Texas Tech was on the screen, they're talking about Nigeria Canada getting $1 million. And they couldn't stop talking about it. And they kind of like jeered at it, like, whoa, we spending all this money, you don't really belong here, all this stuff. And Texas Tech goes to the World Series and, falls flat against Texas. And so no harm, no foul, whatever, that sucked. But then not even a couple weeks later, Texas Tech is nabbing these incredible athletes from around the country, from teams that they were maybe didn't have a problem at. Why? Because those ladies knew, like, hey, Texas Tech is paying market value, and they're building something special. I think I can go do something better there. I wonder if I really believe, actually, that this level of hate, this like conversation around Texas Tech right now with how much money we're spending and like, ooh, shouldn't be doing that. Like, you're ruining the game. This just puts Texas Tech in the conversation, like in the limelight. Texas Tech everybody's talking about Texas Tech. So now you got kids from Savannah, Georgia, who don't otherwise know what a Texas Tech is when they're growing up. They become pipeline to a Texas Tech conversation. And now Texas Tech people in Georgia, these two people that play ball with this kid or like their friends or their cousins or whatever, they know what Texas Tech is. You just you have magnified the brand of Texas Tech to the places that you didn't want. It's like it is a self-fulfilling prophecy for these people. Ironically, if they didn't talk about Texas Tech at all, then it may play out a lot differently in the long run. But because they cannot stop talking about Texas Tech and how Texas Tech is changing the game and how Texas Tech is doing all this stuff and Texas Tech is spending all this money, Texas Tech is getting all these recruits. Texas Tech has the best facilities. Everybody's writing articles about Texas Tech because that's what everybody wants to talk about right now is Texas Tech, Texas Tech, Texas Tech. It's so hard to say really fast. You have saturated the market with Texas Tech. You've saturated the news sphere. It is not hard to find something about Texas Tech now. And that is like the long play. Whether they plan it that way or not, I highly doubt it. But you've entered like this psyop where now Texas Tech is everywhere. Nobody does not know Texas Tech now. Kind of incredible.
Yeah, no, absolutely incredible. Yeah, I like being the big bad wolf for sure. So we kind of talked about Baron Morton in that quarterback listing there. He was he was in the middle of the pack. I think most of the ones that I've seen, he's been
or something like that.
Yeah, middle of the pack there. Which I think some Tech fans are going to be a little bit upset about it. Like I said, I get it. He hasn't been great, but he hasn't been bad. He's as middle of the pack as you can possibly be as a quarterback. A lot of people love Sam Leavitt, and deservedly so. He's balled out. A lot of people also really like. Obviously, Avery Johnson has kind of, I think, earned his status as a really good quarterback this year. So, I think putting, as long as you have Baron Morton over like the scrubs like Connor Wegman from U of H and stuff like that, that's all I care about there. But talking about some other preseason rankings, so the Big 12 decided not to do a preseason ranking. They made an announcement like, hey, preseason rankings are not good. They're not fine. I don't really care, to be honest. It doesn't really matter. But I think really what it is I think it's strategic, to be honest. Because last year, if you remember, they did these preseason rankings and then it was completely wrong. And I think it did end up hurting schools like BYU and Arizona State because BYU now had a tall hill to climb. I still, to this day, think that BYU got snubbed from the college football playoff last year. And they were talking about Alabama, talking about Ole Miss, and I'm like, BYU has a better resume than Alabama, Ole Miss, and SMU that's in the college football playoff, right? But anyways, so I think getting rid of it, I thought was, I get it. I don't really care. I don't really think it was that big of a deal, but I get it. I did find it funny though. They still came out with soccer rankings, preseason rankings. So I'm like,
right,
you don't do that. Stay 10 toes. No preseason rankings at all. And Texas State show up second in the preseason rankings there behind TCU and ahead of BYU, which is interesting. I would have actually thought BYU and TCU would be flipped, but we'll see. But yeah, no preseason rankings here. However, the coaches poll came out. Jeremy, we are 24th ranked. What are your thoughts there?
Aptly ranked because of the publicity, right? I think that not ranking Texas Tech after the transfer portal class would seem disingenuous. I mean, as much as we know about the way these rankings come out anyways, all the coaches are probably, a lot of those coaches are probably lost players are like, you know what, Texas Tech, you're good. Because I can't say you're not, because I recruited that kid. But that's apt. 24th is fine with me. I think that's a good place to be. Five teams from the Big 12 too, so that's pretty nice to see.
You don't think we should have been higher?
I couldn't tell you why. I think we're definitely like 15 based on the roster talent, 15. But I couldn't tell you. But I could not tell you why we're better than those other 10 teams in terms of like production.
I can tell you. I think our D-line. I think our D-line's top 10 in the country. The front 6, 7 top 10 in the country.
Yeah, but they don't play together. Like, what if it falls apart? That's the variable for me. It's like, I mean, all these good guys come together and we fail like the Aggies. Then what?
You know too much. You know too much Texas Tech history. That's a problem.
That's right. I'm too focused on our history. I should just no, we're going to win it all.
No, I had a few. I mean, not really gripes. Coaches polls don't matter. Preseason polls don't really matter. I for one thought Texas being ranked number 1 in the country. They're a really good team. I'm not trying to like talk crap about Texas. Very good team.
Yeah.
My thing is that we've only seen Arch play one half of SEC football.
Yes.
And we just assume because his last name is Manning, he's going to be the second coming. Like, to me, I was more impressed with Gunnar Stockton in the college football playoff with Georgia than I have been impressed with Arch Manning. And their teams and rosters are about the same. So, like, why wouldn't Georgia be a little bit ahead? But I would say the same thing. Like, Georgia, Gunnar Stockton and Arch Manning, we don't know enough about you to rank you that high. I thought Ohio State and Penn State should have been 1 and 2 personally. And then I think what else did I say? I actually had a whole list down. I thought Clemson should be higher because I think they do have one of the best quarterbacks in the country. I thought Bama's way too high. Guys, Nick Saban does not play there. He's not coach there anymore. Right. We do not have to give Bama that same respect that we've been giving them for years. He does not coach there anymore. We will see. Illinois will be good. Saying that I feel like Brett Bielema like bullied every coach in the country to give them the number 12.
He's calling them up at 3 a.m.
Yeah, like, what the hell?
I know where you live.
I do get why people are skeptical about Florida, but DJ Lagway is the truth. He's so good. Indiana is guys. I get they surprised us all last year, but come on. A&M, that team's not going to be that good. I thought not only was Texas Tech too low, I thought Iowa State was also too low. I do believe in that team. I think they're a really good team. BYU should not be, as much as I rang the bells about BYU last year, they are not a top 25 team right now, on paper. These are the on paper rankings. These are how we think each team is on paper before they actually get to play. So this is my on paper thoughts. BYU on paper is not a top 25 team. I don't know if they're a top 30 team. I don't know if they're a top 40 team. You get rid of your starting quarterback that's supposed to. If Retzlaff was still there, then I would understand them being ranked here.
Oh yeah.
Boise State, come on, let's be real. And then I thought Nebraska should be top 25. That was my list of gripes with the rankings. But it's preseason rankings, doesn't really matter. It's just because I was bored on a Tuesday. But yeah. I did think Tech should be higher though. I do think our front seven is going to be really good. I think our O-line for once isn't as troubling as usual. And our weapons, and I'll say this, and maybe it's because of this and why I'm a little bit getting more high on Tech. I've been playing college football 25, Jeremy, while you've been out in the mountains. And let me tell you something. If the Tech football team ends up disappointing this year, you know who won't disappoint? The team on the game. Because that team is good.
Take your sorrows to the game and hang 100 on the team that you just lost to.
And one of my leagues that I play in with some friends from Tech, we have our rule. We got into an online dynasty, and you have to be a 3-star or below. So you can't get one of the best teams. You got to go 3-star prestige or below, and nobody can choose.
Coaching.
Well, yeah, and Tech is a 3.5-star, but the rule in general is either way you can't do Tech. Nobody can choose Tech. We all went to Tech. Nobody can choose Tech. So I chose Louisville. Louisville, for some reason, is a 3-star over there, and they have a pretty good team, pretty good roster, and stuff like that. I had to play Texas Tech in the first round of the college football playoff in this online dynasty. Bruh, it was rough. It was so rough. I was like, why are they so good? Why is Ben Roberts all over the place? Why is this D-line so good and so talented? It was so difficult. I was like, my God, this is so much. It's so hard. So I beat him by a point. I beat him by 1 point. The toughest game I've played against the CPU that entire season. It was so good.
That's awesome.
And so I was like, if this is real, damn, this is going to be such a good team. Douglas Coleman's a beast. Reggie Virgil's a beast in the game. The O-line's good. I couldn't get any penetration. Oh, my God. The team is so good on the game. So I hope it's like that in real life. So a lot of excitement for the team. We are going to get ready to do our preseason previews. We're gonna make sure to whip up some guests here. Got some ideas in the chamber here for getting some guests on the pod and talking about the Big 12 as a whole, as well as Texas Tech as we go into the season, and get a gauge on how much everybody else hates us, which will be great. Anything else you want to say to the people, Jeremy?
My favorite tweet from the day actually was a quote tweet to Rivals talking about the pending maybe Goiten may sound like he's from the Northeast commitment, and the comment was, "It's time to go all in on electric cars and renewable energy. We only have one planet after all. Hashtag save the planet. And it's literally my favorite tweak. We're turning these Southerners into electric car fancies. And it's just like, you know what? If we're going to beat Texas Tech, we're going to do it right. Let's buy the electric, kill oil, kill Texas Tech. Right. So I love that.
So one thing that I really like also is that everybody's like, oh yeah, man, once revenue sharing is here and we limit NIL and have a cap, man, it's Texas Tech's going to be able, they won't be able to do this forever. Oh man, Trump is putting together a team that's going to, a collegiate team that's really going to have a handle on NIL. Ha ha, Texas Tech. And then there's our big booster, Cody Campbell, right behind.
There's Cody Campbell in the background.
Like, yeah,
like,
we ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. We can't be stopped now. It's the Red Raiders for life. That's basically how it felt like with Cody Campbell right behind there. So that's it'll be good stuff. I told y'all 2 years ago about the 2025 season. Did I think that we would be like the NIL money whippers like we are now? No, but I did have high hopes for this season, and them hopes are even higher than I could ever imagine. So it should be fun stuff. We're back. We're gonna have our multiple starting next week, multiple pods a week, getting ready for football season. So yeah. And Jeremy actually didn't know that, so he's hearing that on the pod as I break the news to him that we're back 2 times a week. So yeah. So for the now newly stressed Jeremy Gillen, this is your boy Albie Short, and you have been listening to the Tortillas and Takes podcast, part of the 1012 Network. As always, stay right, people.